Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com, and basically today what I want to do is go over image tags. Basically, this is going to be the image tag masterclass. So after this video, the goal should be that you should be very comfortable using image tags to work with images in all sorts of weird, fun ways. Okay, so let's create an HTML file. Just call it image.html. Okay, and then we'll put some HTML boilerplate using Emmet, so I'll do an exclamation point. Bop. Okay. Now, first off, let's just show how an image tag works. Okay, so an image tag is just a tag that says image. Okay, at its most basic, that's all it is. And again, what makes the image tag unique is one, that it doesn't need a closing tag. So you don't actually have to do like image and then a closing image tag. It's one of the few elements where that's the case. It's not a bad idea to self-close it, put that little slash at the end, because that way later on if you use React where you have to self-close it, you're not necessarily like not used to it. So it's not a bad thing to get used to, like even closing tags that don't need to be closed. But right now it's going to show me no pictures. So if I run this with live server, open with live server. Okay, see, I see nothing. Okay, but that's no fun. Okay, so let's go to images.google.com, and of course we'll look up a picture of Gouda. Okay, so here is a picture of Gouda cheese. Now what I want to do is copy the image address, because this image, what it needs to point to, it has a source property. This is also referred to as an attribute. This source attribute tells it what picture to show. So if it's nothing there, okay, well that's not going to be helpful either. Okay, so now I put the image there, and it doesn't like it for whatever reason. Let me refresh. Oh no, there it goes. It likes it. Okay, and that's all fine and good. Now notice this picture's kind of big, so we'll deal with that in a second. Now, what I can do, okay, what I should do is always give it an alt key. Now, what an alt key is, just some text that's going to help search engines identify, like, okay, what is this an image of? Because the search engine can't see. Also, people who might be visually impaired, their reader, this will tell them what the photo is of. So, you know, Gouda cheese. So you always want to put alt tags, okay, for accessibility, for search engine optimization. Not including alt tags is to your detriment, okay? Advice I should take as well. Cool. But now what can we do about this whole height and width image? Now by default there is actually a height and width property on the tag itself. So I could do height equals 200 pixels, and see that changes the thing. Width equals 200 pixels. I can do that. This works, but that only fixes that one image. Okay, so what if I have like lots of images and I want to apply like the same rules to all of them? This is where using CSS comes pretty handy, okay? So the thing is, you might have different images that you need to apply different rules to. So you probably are going to want to give it what's called a class. And a class allows you to kind of give this like little marker that says, hey, there's going to be some rules of how I want this to appear. And which rule sets I want are going to have these names. So we're going to call this like, you know, a circle image. Or we'll just call it circle. And you'll see why in a second. Okay, so what we're going to do is, you could add a separate CSS file and attach that CSS file, and then that would work, okay? And that would work just fine. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a style tag. A style tag is an HTML tag, which kind of works as kind of like a same file CSS style sheet. I can write all my CSS styles right in here in these style tags. So what I can do is I can write circle. So we're gonna have a class named circle, but for it to know that I'm talking about a class, I have to say dot circle. So dot circle means these rules are going to apply to anything that has this circle class, which is this image right here. Okay, and then I can actually write my rules in here. So height 200 pixels. Okay, and let's refresh and see, like it takes. Okay, and then if I do like width, if I do something weird like width 300 pixels, now watch what happens. See, like now the picture's getting like a little stretched. I don't necessarily want that. Okay, I don't want the picture to be stretched. So then what happens is I have another property I can use to kind of help fix this called object fit. This is going to determine like how the picture fits within the fixed height and width. So right now it's within contain, which means just like stretch it out, figure out what you need to do. Okay. There's cover, which kind of what it does, it centers the picture. So what it does is like if it needs to make the picture bigger, it does, but it doesn't stretch the picture. It's just gonna do it so that way it can kind of like center and fill in that space. So see, now it's not warped. Yeah, I miss like little edges, like there's like little edges of the photo that are like not in the photo, but it's perfectly proportioned. Okay, let's try some of these other ones like fill. See, fill's gonna just squeeze it in there. Let's go back to contain, see if that makes a difference. Contain is just going to sit there and say, like, long as the picture fits in the space, it'll keep it the original size. So basically, it's just centering it within like that 300 pixel space I gave it. So there's different properties there, but that's what object fit does. Okay, so let's go back to cover. I always just like to use cover because that kind of does the job. Now, I notice I said circle. Okay, so I want to give this picture some rounded corners. So I can use the border radius property. And what the border radius property does, it's going to allow me to round the corner. So I can be something like 90 pixels. That's how much I want to do it. And see, like now it's like circular. Okay, now that's kind of like looking cool. Okay, and I want to maybe make this pop a little bit. So maybe what I'll do is I'll do what's called a drop shadow. Okay, let's try a box shadow. See how that goes. 3 pixels black. Okay, doesn't have too much of an effect. Or we could just do it just a normal border. Let's try a normal border first. Border, 3 pix, solid black. And see that puts in like a little border. Okay, and what if I don't want the border on the right and the left? I just wanted to like, I could just do like things like right border. Where is it? Cool thing about Visual Studio Code is that you could, what you do is you can start typing in like border, and then you can see all the properties here. So I want like border on the left. So that's on, yeah, no, actually I want border on the right. And then that would be like, so we'll say 3 pix solid black there. See only like that black part, and then border on the bottom, 3 pix solid black, and see I get this kind of cool effect. Okay, it kind of makes it like looks like it's like popping out a little bit. You can also do that with like a shadow, but you can see like you can do some cool stuff with photos. Okay, cool. So that's kind of like how you like style a photo. But what happens if the photo is broken? So let's say I change this image, and that's the wrong URL now. See, I get this broken image thing. That's no good. I don't want my website to look like that. That's disastrous. So what you can do is that there's an onerror event. So I could sit here and create a function. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to put a script tag. So I could attach a separate JavaScript file. But also with a script tag, I could just write some JavaScript right in here. Okay, because again, this is just a basic tutorial. So then I can write a JavaScript function. Okay, so we'll just say function, you know, default image. Okay, it'll receive what's called the event object. Okay, and first we'll just console.log the event object so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so this function is going to receive an event and console log that event. And there's an event that images have that's called an error event. So I can write onerror equals, and then here in these parentheses I can say like, well, technically I can't do it that way. I could, but I wouldn't do it when I want it to do. Technically what I need to do is attach that to the button. So what I have to do is I have to first grab the button. So const button equals document.query selector. And I grab the button. So I grab the button. Actually, it's not a button though. It's an image. So img. So I'm going to grab the image tag. Yeah, that's fine. I'll grab the image tag. And just to be specific, to make sure I'm not grabbing any images I don't want to grab, I'll say, hey, only grab the image tag that has a class of circle. Okay, so that's what this means. Image.circle means image tag with a class of circle. Okay, so that's going to grab the specific button that I want, but it's not really a button, it's an image. So let's fix that. img. So now that I got the image tag saved in a variable, what I want to do is take the image and add an event listener. And I want the event to be on error. You don't ever write the on part. It's always like the part after the on. Okay, and then I'm going to run the default image function. Okay, so whenever this error event happens on the image, run the default image. So now if I go to my console, okay, let's refresh. So you see, I see the error, it's not getting the image, but then I see that the event is running. So the error, it is detecting the error event. And notice if I look through all these properties in this event object, there's a property called, that's my node. Like this is the actual like image tag, and I can change its properties. And what I want to do is change its source attribute. Okay, that's what I want to do. I want to change its source attribute. Okay. Cool. So the way I can do that, so if I were to edit this function here and say, okay, well, let's do this. If there's an error, then take the event.target.setAttribute, meaning I want to set a particular attribute. I want to set its source attribute, and I'm going to want to set it to something. Okay, so I'm going to go find a picture of like some mystery cheese. Okay, so there's some mystery cheese. Copy image address, and I put that there. So now if I go back to the image, so see now it shows the picture of the mystery cheese. So that's kind of like how you would try to make sure that like none of your images break. You'd find some sort of default picture, and you'd attach some sort of like on error event to all your images, so that way if for some reason the image breaks, there's some sort of backup image to fill in the space. Okay, so you can see like, hey, look, when that kind of filled in the backup. Okay, cool. Now the thing to keep in mind is that images are inline elements, meaning by default they're treated like text. Okay, so if I write some text right after the image, look where it shows up. See, it shows up right after the image in the same line. Okay, so keep that in mind. So if I were to add multiple images, they're naturally just going to show up side by side. Okay. Cool. And again, only see, since I use document.querySelector, it only added the event to the first one, not to the second one. Okay. So let me fix the image URL on the second one. Here we go. Some Gouda, copy image address. Okay, and right now they show up not side by side because they're like, because of the space. But let's see if I widen this up a little bit. See, now they're on the same level. Okay, so what if I didn't want them to do that? I want them to actually like stack on top of each other. Okay, then what I would do is I can change the display property to block. Okay, and now they'll stack on top of each other. There's a couple other different properties there like flex and grid. I'm not going to get into flex and grid right now. Those are huge topics within themselves. Watch my videos on Flexbox and Grid. But hopefully, like if you use React or jQuery or any kind of library, now you know that there's this error event that you can use to kind of handle broken images. On top of that, you now know like how you can fit the size, object fit. Like these are some of the issues that always were like the big issues for me with images, like making that image kind of fit within the space that I wanted it to fit in. And then two, what happens if you have a broken image? So this kind of really is going to help you and making sure that you always put alt tags, and images should be a lot of fun. Aside from that, like pretty much anything else you want to do to play with them really comes down to the realms of CSS and just really getting good with CSS. There's a couple other fun things you can do, like there's some like filter properties. Okay, that you can use to filter the picture. So in here you can do things like, as you saw there, like just go back. Filter. So you see you have all these different functions you can use. Okay, and they generally all take a value between 0 and 100. So if I sit there and say like, let's make it grayscale. Okay, so now they both become gray. But I can say maybe it's not 100% grayscale. I can put like 20 in there, or I think it's like 20%. Yeah, so you'll see it's like not super grayscale, but if I do like 60%, it's kind of grayscale, so it kind of mutes the picture. And there's a lot of these filters you can use. So filter, drop shadow, okay. And do we see an effect there? Maybe a little bit. Let's see what happens if I do like 80% or something. Or if I do like 10 pixels. So you have to like look up these different CSS functions to see what each of them take in as an argument. But let's see. Let's do another one. Boop. Okay. Drop shadow, contrast. There's sepia if you want to give it that kind of like brown kind of tint there. There is brightness. I'm going to make it kind of brighter. Or if you want to reduce the brightness, so if I make this 20%, so now like kind of dark. 30%. You know, in case maybe it's like for like a modal. There's opacity, so you can change like its transparency. There's a lot of cool filters you can apply to it. So there's a lot you can do with pictures nowadays in CSS and nowadays in HTML. Okay, so like basically you have room to really have some fun with pictures. And the cool thing is like you don't actually have to use image tags. You could actually set images as like, for example, let me add a div in here. Okay, so let me add a div. Okay, and then let's say I'm gonna make this div, we'll say dot image. We'll give it a class of dot image. Class equals, and it's not dot image, it's classes image. Okay, class is gonna be image, and then we're gonna grab another photo, copy image address, and then I'm gonna say, okay, hey, we're gonna have another style called dot image, and this thing that's styled by this class, which is this div here, we're gonna say it's a height of 200 pixels and width of 200 pixels, and it's going to have what does it not like width? I don't see anything wrong with that. Oh yeah, that's right, semicolons. CSS, Alex. Okay, with and basically what I want here is we'll say like background image, and then I can pass a URL to that image, and now watch what we find. Okay, so see like there's like the picture, but again like that picture doesn't fit there, so of course I can use that object fit property, object fit, and then do like cover. I think that should still work even if it's a background image. No, it's not for background image. We'll have to do something a little bit different. Background, I think it's position. Okay, nope. Background color, background image, repeat, background size, is that what I'm looking for? Cover, yeah. And see, like I can do that as well there. So there's different ways you can do this, and the cool thing about a background is that now I can put like stuff on top of it. So I can put some text over it. And see the cheese appears in the picture. Okay, so technically it's in the div, because it's the div is the cheese is the background of the div. So if you want to create like those hero effects where you have like the text on top of the image, that's one way of doing it. So yeah, okay, hopefully this gave you a lot of cool firepower with like images and image tags and using images in your website. My name is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com. Have a great day and enjoy.